Welcome back. And first I would like to congratulate you on finishing the course. Now I want to spend some time focusing on the 10 most common questions that I receive about how to grow citrus trees. The first question that I always receive is, Paul, what type of citrus trees should I grow? Let me give you a couple examples of what my favorite trees are and why they are. The first tree that I always recommend is your dwarf Meyer lemon tree. This is my all-time favorite citrus tree to grow. It's self-pollinating, it's very low maintenance, it can be a little bit hardier than other lemon trees, and it produces quite a bit of fruit. The first year I had mine, I actually had over a dozen lemons on my tree, and it continues to grow today. The second type of tree that I recommend is going to be a lime tree called the key lime. Most of you are familiar with the key lime, but why I like it is it's very easy to grow. The fruit is relatively small, and like the dwarf Meyer, it is self-pollinating, so it requires little work and care from you. Also, these are great trees to have in pots. So if you live indoors, or even if you live in a sunny area and warm area like Florida, this is perfect. It is the perfect lime tree for no matter where you live. The third type of tree that I recommend is mandarin orange trees. Mandarin orange trees are another type of citrus tree that produces a bountiful amount of actual fruit. I was actually shocked the first year it started producing fruit how much it had. What I really enjoy about it though is that I personally like the size of those mandarin oranges. As a father, it's great to have those small ones for my kids, and those tend to last a little bit longer once harvested compared to other oranges. The final type of citrus tree that I recommend is anyone who wants to grow grapefruit looking at the ruby red grapefruit trees. Personally, I find that these are the tastiest, and out of all the grapefruits, grow best in some of those colder areas where I can keep it indoors. With that being said, the only disadvantage is I have seen that grapefruit actually grow a little bit slower and produce a little bit less fruit than lemons, limes, or orange trees. That's not a big deal, but it should be noted in case you're looking for the most amount of harvest for your tree. What I've also seen is that grapefruit trees tend to grow the largest. So if you don't have a large pot, you may not have the growth and the amount of fruit that you would expect. So as a quick recap, dwarf Meyer lemon trees, lime trees, and mandarin orange trees are perfect trees to be grown in pots and are the hardiest against weather, pests and bugs, and just day-to-day care. Grapefruit trees are another great option, but require a little bit more maintenance, a little bit more space, and tend to produce a little bit less fruit. The next common question I always receive is, Paul, what type of gardening container should I grow my citrus tree in? And even though we've covered this in a section of the course, I think it's still good to revisit what my personal favorite is. My personal favorite gardening container, believe it or not, is plastic. And the reason for that is most of the year I keep my citrus trees indoors, so I'm not, very concerned about how they look. And for the spring and summer and even fall that I keep it outside, it's in a section of my house where, again, not many of my neighbors are actually seeing it. Why I like plastic, though, is pretty simple. It's incredibly durable. I mean, these last forever. It's very inexpensive. And if you're like me and you have quite a bit of plants, that can quickly add up. And then finally, it has drainage holes and it's lightweight. So if I plan on moving this tree in and outside, that can get quite heavy with water, with large trees. And so the lightweight combined with the drainage holes to help make watering easier, makes this the perfect option for me. That doesn't mean it's going to be the best option for you, but for most indoor gardeners, it is a great option. If you're looking for something that, you just want to keep your citrus tree outdoors all year and you want an option where you're not going to move it, I personally like wooden pots. I think those are great because it blends in with the natural environment around you. While they can be heavy, it actually is very porous like we've talked about. And I personally think those options tend to be bigger. So wooden pots can go really, really large, which is great if you want to have your citrus tree grow bigger and wider. So again, ceramic is a great option, terracotta is a great option. For some people it might even be metal. My personal favorite for indoors or indoor-outdoor is going to be plastic. And if you want to keep just a pot outside all year, I personally like the wooden pot. So the next question I always receive is, do you prefer to keep your citrus tree in a pot all year, or do you prefer to keep it in ground? So I personally, again, live in Ohio. I don't have that option. But if I lived in a place that I could keep my citrus tree outdoors all year, what would I choose? In my opinion, I personally like keeping citrus trees in pots. And it's pretty simple. Number one, I can prevent it from getting attacked by pests and bugs a little bit better than I could if it was just in the ground. The second part is I can control its growth. That's a lot tougher when I place a citrus tree in the ground. At that point, the roots are going to take over, Mother Nature is going to take over. So I can actually control it better. And if I ever wanted to move it, I didn't like where it was, or something came up and we moved and we wanted to move that pot or that citrus tree, pots make it a great option, where once it's in the ground, it stays there. Now, we can always dig up that citrus tree, but that's much harder when it's 10, 15, 20 feet tall.